Home. It's where you build your legacy, where traditions are started, seeds are planted, meals are shared, and stories are told. We are Chris and Natalie Carpenter, owners of Story Real Estate, and our team of top agents helps people find homes in Moscow, Idaho, and around the country.
Have you thought about a move? Contact us to get connected with a top agent who shares your values and puts your family first. Or reach out to us about our Moscow relocation guide.
Wherever you're looking to go, we can help you find home. Call us at Story Real Estate or visit us at storyrealestate.com and start building your legacy.
It's Hollywood up in here today. Hey, y'all, welcome to Cross Politic on the Fight Laugh Feast Network. Pastor Toby, Chuck Knox, the Water Boy. It's Tuesday.
Never know what Gabe's going to say.
Okay.
Never know.
No, bring a new one every time.
Hey, the mission of Armored Republic is to honor Christ by equipping free men with tools of liberty necessary to preserve
That's right.
God-given rights. In the Armored Republic, there's no king. What are you doing
I
there?
got my, I got one of my
your
own.
Armored Republic water
Yeah,
bottle?
I got one of them. It's bulletproof.
Hey, it better be. Armored Republic creates tools of liberty. Free men must remain ever vigilant against tyranny wherever it appears. God has given us the tools of liberty needed to defend those rights he's bestowed upon us, and Armored Republic is honored to offer you those tools. So visit them today. They make body armor at AR500armor.com. That's the letters AR, the number 500armor.com. We're really grateful to have with us today on the Zoom, Tatum and Jennifer Shank. In October 2021, Tatum and Jennifer started Hollywood4Freedom. It was born when Tatum was fired for refusing to succumb to the Hollywood vaccine mandate.
Is that what it's called now?
The
Hollywood vaccine mandate.
It was all acting, for sure. Hollywood4Freedom was created to stand up and speak out and create a new Hollywood for free thinkers. Hey, thanks for joining us on Cross Politic, guys.
You bet. Thanks for having us. This is great. I got to say, it's already been a great show already. The action there, the free plug, advertisement with the water. Love it. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Whenever we can impress somebody from Hollywood, I feel like we can just end the show right there because it only goes down from here.
All right, thanks for joining the
Yeah,
show.
thanks.
Go love God.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for joining us. It was our
See you later.
pleasure. Thank you guys for having us.
Check them out at Hollywood4Freedom.com.
Wrap it up, guys.
And
mess this
scene.
So, guys, how's the resistance in Hollywood going? So you start this out. I mean,
it looks like just two of you.
is anyone
Today on
joining
the
you?
show, just two of us. Well, I tell you what, it's so funny you said that. It's like, is that the thing now, the Hollywood vaccine? Because I feel like we're the only ones hanging on still.
It's the only industry hanging on for dear life.
So our mandate is supposed to be lifted May 12th, May 11th or 12th.
Yeah.
So literally it's still in place. And I will believe it when I see it, when they actually lift it, right? We'll see what happens there.
So
But
that's when Biden's supposed to lift the travel mandate
The
for
travel one,
internationals,
right?
May 11th.
Oh,
wait,
I didn't know that. I didn't.
There's still a mandate for you guys
Because
to be.
Hollywood is considered another country.
Yeah. and part of the liberal regime country, you know. Yeah.
This feels like Juneteenth, but for Hollywood actors.
Yeah.
Right?
May 11th.
Right? That's what it feels like. It's like, you guys know you're free, right?
Yeah.
You
yes,
guys.
John Thunderdome out here. But I tell you, it's crazy town for sure.
Okay.
And I like I said, I don't. Even if they lift the mandate, I still think people in productions are going to be imposing it, because it was always been up to the producers. That was the thing, right? It's up to the producers, even though the unions were behind this whole thing and pushing it and making sure it was in place. I think productions are, and right now, yes, to this, right now, this day, as we're doing this interview, late April 2023, majority of the productions are still under the mandate. You have to be vaccinated to be on set
And boosted.
I don't know how many boosters they're up to.
Wow.
This a couple.
Masks.
Wow.
Yeah, they're doing all that nonsense still.
Yeah. What variant are we on?
I think we stopped
talking about that. No.
Hey, stop that. That's
Okay,
weird.
so-
Hey, why don't you come up to Idaho because we're starting Idaho Wood up here.
Idaho Wood.
Idaho Wood.
Idaho Wood,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Idaho Wood?
Yeah, I just came off the top of my head right there. I apologize to our audience.
Yeah. How about you don't? So what is Hollywood4Freedom? What is it? It seems like you got fired for resisting the mandates. I want to hear a little bit about that, but let's tell us about what you started first.
Yeah, so that is how it happens. Well, we had a small group already meeting, tired of like the woke propaganda and the nonsense that Hollywood was putting out and everything, right? I mean, it's just ramped up over the last several years. I mean, it's just getting silly. But we were tired of that, so we got together as a group saying like we should be doing our own stuff, making our own projects, doing that kind of thing. And shortly after we started meeting, I got hired on a show. My friends over at NBC Universal hired me for the Bel Air, the remake of Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
Yeah. Uncle Phil.
What's that?
Why not?
You were gonna be Uncle Phil.
You can identify as a
or the
black guy.
schoolmaster. One of those parts. It was between those two. So, but yeah, the schoolmaster, right? I was talking to production, giving my sizes, figuring out with wardrobe and all those things. I got on the phone with the COVID lady, schedule my COVID test. And right before we got off the phone, she said, "Well, make sure you bring your vax card to the appointment, to your test tomorrow." I was like, "Well, I don't have that. I have a religious exemption." And she's like, "Oh my gosh," I go to a different department. She hangs up on me, done. Never hear back. 2 days later, they sent an email to my agent saying, Tatum's not allowed to work on our show because he won't take the vaccine. So fired me, right? Because they had already hired me.
Right.
And then, so that day we were like, I can't be the only one this has happened to. We got to, and Jennifer's really good on social media, following all the like firefighters for freedom, roll call for freedom, the nurses for freedom. She was following all the freedoms.
Cross-politic.
Cross-politic for freedom. Yeah, absolutely. So we were
Idaho for freedom.
So we were like, is anyone talking and speaking out in Hollywood? Yeah. And we found that there was no Hollywood for freedom. Nobody was really, because it's, again, right, left leaning. People are scared to say something. So we said, well, we got to speak up. And so the next day we started Hollywood for Freedom on Instagram, started making videos and saying, hey, this is what happened to me. If it happened to you, reach out, because we want to hear from you. Right. And so like people just started coming out of the woodwork, like, oh my gosh, thank you for speaking up. I thought I was alone. All these things. We started holding events and doing different things. I mean, over the course of the year.
Did Tom Cruise connect with you guys? Because we know he ain't vaxxed. He's Christian Scientist. He ain't doing that stuff.
So right, but he's in a position where he doesn't have to. Right, he can make everybody else do it, but he doesn't. I don't know his specific situation, but I know people out there that are avoiding it, but still working and doing it. But we're not in that position. Right. So but that's the thing. That's the key to Hollywood for Freedom. We don't want to be ever under their rules again, to succumb to their rule. Obviously, I never took the shot, but we knew friends that just felt like if they didn't do it, they wouldn't be able to support their family. Yeah. They were forcing people into it. And it's awful. So we said, no, enough. We're not doing that. We got to create our own universe, do our own projects, do our own thing. Mm-hmm. And that's Hollywood for Freedom, right? We're that organization that's the alternate to Hollywood.
Wow. So actors get together. It's more than a support group. It's actually having everybody that's a part of, from grip to lighting to DPs, actors. They're all coming together to say,
doubles like me. I'm a double.
Double.
I'm just a double. I mean, using for anything. You want a right leg in a scene that you don't want to face. I'll just show my right foot. I'm a double. Yeah. You want a hand, in a scene.
You need a lot of doubles.
Why don't you play a double of an extra way in the back right now?
Double,
way in the back.
One of those bit
that don't have any talking parts.
I mean, you need a butt double.
Again. Oh man, yeah. You can sign up.
Cut that part out.
Yeah, no. Where can Gabe sign up at?
So, what's that? Go ahead.
Where can he sign up? You can actually sign up at hollywoodforfreedom.com.
There we go. That's a good plug.
So, but you guys are bringing together all of the, because I guess part of it for me is you guys have seen, if you've worked in Hollywood at all, any of the industry, you've seen this coming one way or another, because you can't have a strong Christian position at all or a conservative position inside of that world. It's not allowed, right? If you have it, it's kind of pushed in the back. It's quiet. When you're in the craft services and you guys are all sitting down, in the back, you can talk a little bit about it, but not very much. 2
martinis in.
Maybe. So, why start this now? I mean, if you're not getting work, I mean, you really do have to have some sort of large capital to start. How are you getting even places to let you in for staging?
Well, let's back up. Like Hollywood for Freedom, we're the umbrella organization that's connecting the crew, actors, directors, writers, grips, lighting, sound, all the people that can make a project happen. We're connecting those people that have been pushed out of work because of their beliefs with distributors, investors, and production companies that want to get stuff done that are of like mind. So we're that umbrella connecting those points together.
Got it.
So since we started our database is over 400 people now that like-minded, again, that can get those projects done. We just need to connect now with those production companies, those investors and the distributors, right? And we're very close now to be able to start really pushing out the word and getting donors and big donors in to kind of make that a reality, right?
Right. I think that's kind of the point where we're at, is where we're trying to get the word out, because we have a lot of people that are the production and the crew, the actors. We're very heavy on the actor side, and people that want to work. But now we are a 501c4. We just became a nonprofit, and so we're at the point to say, okay, now we just got our website redone. It's the BP Group. They did a fantastic job with our new website. And so we're at the point where we have our own bank account. Everything is legitimate, with the IRS. All things are in order. So now it's time to say, okay, you guys, people that are in the shadows, that are big money in Hollywood, that, like you said, that are having the martinis on the side, having that conversation, they can now donate and say, that's one of the benefits of us being a 501c4 is you can remain anonymous. You don't have to reveal to anybody. It is not public knowledge who's making the donation. So that's one of the benefits of being a 501c4 is that we can speak out politically, and we can support political candidates, but we also give room for people who are making donations. Although it's not tax deductible, they can be silent in their donation and still partner with us because they believe in the mission.
Yeah.
I'm going to hog the conversation.
I'm gonna hit the second ad so we don't miss it, and then you're in. Ladies and gentlemen, it's never been a better time to become a club member at Cross Politic. This year, Cross Politic is dropping exclusive content in our club portal for club members only. Some of this content includes a Bible study series with myself, special with New St. Andrews President Ben Merkel, backstage content, conference talks from all the past conferences. You can grab a club membership for just $10 a month. That's 2 cups of coffee if you buy girly drinks. So again, head on over to fightlaughfeast.com to get signed up today. And also chocolate Knox drinks. Okay. Yeah, they're also those.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't like that you paired me and girly.
Fightlaughfeast.com.
Hey, the big Hollywood people that are listening right now with all that money, I mean, they can sign up.
Right. Yeah.
So I was just, I've been doing some research, and I realized just how influential Hollywood has been in America. One of the ways they were influential is stopping the flow of communism into America. It's one of the first places that we start seeing the fight against communism in America. We see the Motion Picture Association that was created through Disney, right? And so Walt Disney and the whole group of actors that come around him, even Reagan was a part of that. How do you guys think that we went from opposing communism to outright supporting and praising it in Hollywood, which is opposed to it?
I believe it's Satan's agenda. I mean, to me, it's biblical. Like, it was bound to happen somehow, and somehow the demonic forces that be, the powers and principalities, have gained control of an industry that was meant to be the light, and instead turned into the darkness, and that darkness has overshadowed that. And so I think that's kind of why Hollywood4Freedom is really trying to be that city on a hill and be that beacon of light, saying, hey, there's still hope out here. There's still a place, a fortress that is founded on the beliefs of the Bible, that are willing to take a stand and say, no, we're not going to stand for this. And I believe that there are people there's a starving group of people out there starving for content that we want to provide. We have so many projects that are just sitting on the shelf that are like, if we had just gotten investors, if we have the investors to do this, if we find the distribution companies that are willing to do this, we could provide that content. It's just a matter of getting the word out. And that's why, having us on the show like yours and different podcasts and stuff, that's the only way we can make a difference, I believe, is getting the word out through these venues, because they're not going to host us on NBC Tonight, That's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm going to hog the whole conversation.
I'm going to pick up on this. I'm curious. I mean, obviously, there's the initial thing right in front of you with all the COVID insanity and just freedom of conscience, freedom of healthcare decisions, freedom of speech and there's all that is right there. And obviously, I mean, I agree completely. That's enough right there. Just stand up and say, no, I mean, this is America still. We have our rights. It seems to me that there are like, bigger and broader questions about the nature of freedom itself. Where, maybe if I had to, I'm not in Hollywood, and I'm not in your shoes, but as a pastor kind of looking broadly at the culture, it seems like for many decades, we've been compromising on even the nature of what freedom really is. And particularly when it comes to the arts and beauty and story. I mean, that's what Hollywood's been all about, is telling stories in a compelling way. But for decades, of course, there's been a growing, I don't know if divide's the right word, but at least devolution from telling stories that celebrate truth and goodness and beauty, and to really celebrating wickedness and debauchery and pornography and all this kind of stuff. And then I think there's been sort of simplistic reactions from some sort of, I don't know what you want to call it, fundamentalist Christian or whatever, where it's, every movie has to have a gospel presentation at the end of it. But at the same time, it seems like we kind of capitulated on understanding that real freedom has to be tied to real truth, real goodness, and real beauty. And we've bought into a lot of sort of postmodern conceptions that like beauty is whatever I want it to be, and I can fling paint at a wall. I can fling dog poo at something, and then there we go, and it's beautiful to me, which is just the first step to, well, then whatever is true for me is true for me, and then whatever is freedom to me is freedom to me. I mean, once you've gone down that relativistic sewer, everything's relativistic, and then ultimately you're waiting for a tyrant to come along and say, okay, that's it. This is freedom. Freedom is getting your vax and getting back to work, Tatum, or whatever. So, I mean, I guess I'm curious, what's your take on the broader picture of creating good stories, beautiful stories, and truth, and that's relationship to the nature of freedom? Have you thought about that at all? And are you thinking that big? Are you praying that big?
Well, I mean, I would just say it's really so simple, and it's what Jennifer said. Like it's the battle between evil and good. Like it's a Christ rejecting sinful world that we live in, and we have to fight back every day in some aspect wherever God puts us, right? Wherever we're at. That's our battle, is that we're in Hollywood. Like I'm an actor, like this is where he dropped me. So I'm fighting back against that evil. Right. And that was for years. We were a light in that industry, but it was so dark. And like you said, the stuff that's coming out and they're producing, it's whatever people think is right. But it's not based on truth. It's not based on the Bible, right? Like what is the truth? So that's because and we just said, look, we can't really be the light in there anymore. We have to be out here and create a larger light to shine into the darkness, or to shine that darkness. Because from being on the inside, they found ways to kind of really hold people back and keep them from being that light, right? Yeah. So we have to do it different. We have to create our own universe, be the light outside, and make that so bright that it penetrates the darkness.
And I think to what you were saying about like the focus on, I think the focus shifted. Like you said, there was a focus on faith, focus on the truth, focus on freedom, right? That was the focus in what Hollywood was meant to be, right? But then the focus became no longer what God purposed people to be and what God wanted to reveal through his word and through his truth and through what freedoms are founded upon. And it became the focus on me. Yeah. But how do I feel? What do I want to be today? And I can be this because I'm my own God, and I'm taking into account my own thoughts and what I want to do, not people genuinely saying, okay, God, what is my purpose? Like I cannot tell my daughter cannot come up to me and say, hey mom, I want to be an NBA player. Mm-hmm. First of all, you're a girl. If you want to be in the WNBA, great. But you know what? You're not a very tall little girl. Okay. I'm not trying to crush your dreams. I'm not going to preach to you and say, you can be anything you want to be, baby. Right. No, that's not, if I see she doesn't have that skill set, I would be doing her more harm. Yeah. So to create in this Hollywood is to kind of go back to that truth, go back to those freedoms. And so it's not just about, like you said, it's not just about medical freedom and the vaccine and wearing masks. Like that was, it was definitely situational. That's what kind of kept the momentum going. But now that we're here, it's like, we have to take a stand for that truth, for that freedom, for those principles. It's not even necessarily like everybody in our organization isn't a believer. But you know what? Let's come and let's make some content that has a moral compass.
Sure.
Something that we can go and watch, and it can be gritty, it can be raw, it can be real, but let's have good conversations with our family members, with our friends, and get to those truths that God is really trying to enter into this to the world that we're living in right now.
And to your point about like the films that, like the Christian films that just always have to have the message at the end. And
right.
Have you guys seen Nefarious? Are you familiar with this movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
We had Steve Ace on talk about it.
That's awesome. Right?
Yes.
That's cool. So like that kind of movie, right? Like we have to be smart.
Right.
Like, and that was so smart. He did that. It was so well. He the horror crowd, right? They were promoting it to the horror crowd, so they draw him in and then hit him with the gospel from the demon's perspective. It was brilliant. It was great. It was really, really good. So stuff like that, we have to be creative,
right?
Yeah.
More creative and not just try to
what's expected.
Right. Like Jesus Revolution, great movie, but most of the kids out there that need to see that movie aren't going to go and see. I'm not going to see Jesus Revolution, right?
Okay.
I'm going to go see this horror nefarious movie because I have no clue what it's about.
Right.
And then maybe their minds are thinking, right? It's really cool.
That's great.
So the trans movement is infiltrating every aspect of life. I don't think there's one area right now that it's amazing too, because it's not a lot. It's a very small minority, but it's in everything. How has and Jennifer, this is kind of directed to you because I was on your Instagram and you told a story, I'm a woman, and I would love for you to kind of repeat that story here again because it reminded me of I'm a man. It was the same sort of question that we were asking back in the 50s and the 60s again. But the trans movement has infiltrated every aspect so that women are losing out so much in the industry. I remember that Black actresses were complaining that female rappers were coming into the industry and taking all of their roles. But where are the Black women right now complaining that men
are taking their roles?
And they're silent. It's almost like they're not allowed to speak out. But would you just kind of talk about I'm a Woman and what you talked about on your Instagram? I would love to hear it again.
So that movement is Battle Cry USA, and they are a group of women that are advocates for women, women, real women for women. And they approached me and they asked me if I would do a little piece on being a woman, on what a woman means to me. And what I shared was the fact that I have had multiple miscarriages through my life, and just the emotional and the physical pain that a real biological woman experiences. And I'm not to disregard the emotional and the spiritual pain that, my husband went through during that process, but the fact that someone who is a trans woman will never, ever experience that feeling. A man who's biological, who transitions into a woman, can never compare and say, oh yeah, I know what that feels like. So don't tell me that you're a woman because that it's not biologically possible for you to experience that. There's just no way. And you're right. It's that movement that has been prevalent across the United States. And you know what? I pray and I love all people. This isn't a matter of like, I would never talk to you. I would never welcome you to my church. I would welcome all people. But it's just this movement that has become so, it's the enemy. It's good versus evil. And trying to infiltrate children. That's where it's like, you want to be 18, you want to go and you feel that this is who you are. Again, going back to not what God created me to be, not to that truth, not to that purpose, but what I want, I think I am. If you're 18 and that's what you want to do, then okay, then you go about your business and I'm going to keep you in prayer and I'm going to pray that you find God and you find out who God created you to be. But don't start putting that agenda on children. Don't go and do sexually explicit dances in front of kids at like their little, mommy and me classes. That's just unacceptable. That's absolutely unacceptable for children. And like I said, no one's ever going to really understand what it is to be a woman to have gone through those types of things. Just like you said, being a man.
Yeah.
It's, there's things I'm never going to understand what it's like to be a man.
But it goes back to truth, right? What's the truth? The truth is there's the male gender, the female gender, and transgender doesn't exist.
That's right. That's right.
There's this thing. There's two genders. That's it.
Yeah.
And people are confused. They're just confused. And you have to be 21 to drink. You have to be 16 to drive, but you can be 12 to 5 to change your gender. I mean, give me a break. Like, what are we doing? It's crazy.
It's insane. I remember looking up a couple years ago, I was preparing to give a message or a talk on manhood and womanhood. And I looked up, and I can't remember the exact week gestation, but a tiny little baby girl, like, I think it's like within the first like 3 weeks of gestation. Like it's like right away. Like this is a tiny microscopic baby girl inside her mother's womb has already begun to develop her uterus.
Mm-hmm.
At that early, like from jump, God is already. I mean, we know the XY and XX chromosomes already there, from jump. But it was just really mind blowing that right away it's like just that mark, that glory that God has made a woman for motherhood. And and then even speaking to what you're talking about is that's what you're talking about though. I mean, my wife is miscarried as well, and there is something, and it's hard and painful, and at the same time, that unique experience points to the fact that you're a mother.
That's right.
You're a woman made in the image of God. You've carried a baby, and even if you've only carried that baby for a few days or a few weeks, it was a human being with a soul that will live forever, and that means you're a mom forever, and that's a glory that no man dressed up in a dress, it's just
you can't get that.
That's just an abomination. It's just blasphemy. It's just it's absolute wickedness. But
guys, would you give us the website and give your last appeal to people why they need to come to your website and join what you guys are doing or support whatever that is?
Our website is Hollywood4Freedom.com, and you can go to the homepage, and right there it says join the database. Click on that, fill out the contact information. You'll be added to the database right away. And once we get production companies that are looking for different positions or different things that go along with what your skill set is, we make the connection, we make it happen. So I would just suggest you can go there, or you can find us on Instagram or Facebook. We're also on Twitter.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you for
I'm
coming on
sign
Cross
up as a
Politics.
double.
I'm gonna, hey, they got a lot of friends out there.
when you see Gabe's information, just delete it. Just delete it. It's okay. It's okay. It's spam.
If you're single, get married.
We need a double. We need doubles, whatever that is.
If you're married, have you some kids, and if you have kids, go baptize them. Until tomorrow, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is Cross Politic.
Putting off writing that proposal again? Yeah, we've been there. Proposal writing can be tough. It takes work, and if you're not careful, you can set up your company for failure. Well, that's where we come in. Smart Pricing Table is an innovative application that focuses on, the pricing table. Instead of a static document and constant back and forth, our platform creates interactive proposals that empower your prospects. Not sure if something is needed? Make it optional. Have complicated services that vary? Let your customer do the work with line item upsells. Have reoccurring services? Easy peasy. With Smart Pricing Table, you can create attractive proposals quickly. And our system is built for reuse, so you can get out of that hamster wheel. Give your customers choice and close deals quickly with Smart Pricing Table.
Hi, I'm Robert Borton, CEO of Classical Conversations, the world's largest classical Christian homeschooling community. I'm launching a new podcast, Refining Rhetoric. If you like cross politics or just listen to hear what crazy stuff they're saying today, You will enjoy refining rhetoric. You can find us on your favorite podcast platform. I practice the 15 tools of learning by interviewing great guests, looking at current events, and talking about cryptocurrency.